I gotta keep it cool tonight, fellas, so no crazy questions.
In the NBA, there are many players people just don't like, whether it's because of what they've done on the court, off the court, or just how they act in general. These are all very valid criticisms and can make players and fans alike just hate a certain star. However, it takes a certain type of person to become one of the most hated men in the NBA, and we think we've found him. From the myriad of teams all throughout the United States, there's one man who seems to be the most hated. From what we can tell right now, and all the research we've done, the most hated man in the NBA seems to be Dillon Brooks.
Yeah, we just come in and do the same thing every single night. We got dogs on our team, resilient group that we fight every single night.
So from behind the scenes fights to playing dirty on the court and causing an injury, here are the reasons why people hate Dillon Brooks. People in Dillon Brooks' life have been calling him Villain Brooks since his college days in Oregon.
As Reggie had pointed out, Casey Benson has checked in. Great feed off that baseline untouched.
There's absolutely no doubt that there are professional opponents who will call Dillon Brooks far worse than any other controversial player right now. There are very few NBA stars who play on a ragged edge like Dillon Brooks does, and even fewer who barrel over it. He's had a really crazy career, so it's no surprise why people start to dislike him. All of this explains why the Memphis Grizzlies didn't have him in the lineup. Recently, Dillon Brooks was suspended by the NBA for one game without pay. This doesn't happen too often in the NBA, as most players are pretty relaxed, but Brooks had something crazy going on behind the scenes. The day before the supposed game, he had a melee with Cleveland Cavaliers guard Donovan Mitchell.
That's just who he is. We've seen it a bunch in this league with him. Him and I have had our personal battles for years.
The league looked into the altercation and cited him for starting it, as he struck Mitchell in the groin in an unsportsmanlike manner. Either way, even if he didn't start it, both players should have received some sort of punishment, and it looks like Brooks got the bad end of the stick. Because he started the fight, he was the one who got the most severe punishment and was banned from one game without pay.
I ended up getting fined for more money than he did. I'm glad it's just one game.
This most definitely isn't his finest moment as a pro NBA star, and his Memphis teammate and former Raptor Danny Green said it spoke to Brooks' true character. He said he does not take a moment off, and that fight completely showed his style. Green had an interview after the event, and here's what he's had to say. It's hard to be a two-way player in this league, and he's night in and night out. Brooks' suspension truly stinks, but a night for him might help him regain some legs and some focus as he plays with an edge every single night. It looks like Brooks is the guy who gives it all every night and is playing at a very high defensive level no matter what. You can just tell that even his teammate, who's digging at him, knows how good Brooks really is and how this might have just been a battle occasion. He's the sort of troubled player who's so good at what he does but gets into so much trouble behind the scenes that it's hard to keep his public image in good spirits.
Buckets. Well, you have to see who's back there. That time is Keegan Murray. Nice move here by Dillon.
This is actually the second time in a few weeks that there's been some sort of extracurricular activity that has thrust Brooks into a media firestorm. I guess it's a common thing, right?
In the last games, we weren't guarding, playing defense, or, giving our all.
Not too long ago in Los Angeles, Brooks found himself trading expletives with a fan outside the game. The crazy thing about this, though, is that the fan happened to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He was Fox Sports pundit Shannon Sharpe.
He's the one and only Shannon Sharpe. I could do Club Shay Shay. I could talk about his podcast.
But it turned out that Sharpe actually apologized in that case, and he said that Brooks didn't instigate it. Though he didn't instigate it, people saw his bad behavior through this moment and knew how awful he was getting. This is the second time in about 9 months that Brooks has been suspended, both times without pay. It's been a crazy time to be someone like Brooks. He's such a troubled mastermind, I guess. Though the most recent transgression surrounding Brooks wasn't his fault, people seem to hate him right now. The previous one was much more costly, of course.
Dog need his respect on this defensive team for sure.
Yes, sir.
Back in May 2022, Brooks was forced to forego a third game of the Western Conference semifinals as he fractured the elbow of Golden State's Gary Payton II.
It's kind of out of line in terms of defenseless player going up for a layup and him taking a huge windup. I feel bad for GP. Like, this is his time to shine in a series like this.
This happened because of an egregious takedown that occurred with Payton midair on a breakaway. Payton's coach called it dirty and said that Brooks had broken the code during the match.
I don't know if it was intentional, but it was dirty. And but there's a code in this league. There's a code that players follow. This is a guy who's been toiling the last 6 years trying to make it in this league.
Despite Brooks profusely apologizing to Peyton after the match, even after the Warriors had eliminated the Grizzlies,
the Golden State Warriors are headed back to the Western Conference Finals.
there wasn't much interest in bowing to unwritten rules.
No reaction. I don't really even know what that means, the playoffs.
Brooks said he didn't even know what breaking the code meant in the playoffs, but that's no excuse for what he did. On one hand, it's really hard not to love Brooks, as he is so good at the game and knows how to play it perfectly. However, just like many amazing NBA and sports stars in general, he has a troubled past. He's very explosive and doesn't know how to hold himself back, leading him into so much controversy that it overweighs the good parts of his career. On the other hand, in some eyes, there does come a time when his relentlessness crosses the line into vicious recklessness and should hinder his career. It's a really thin line, as everybody knows that Brooks is so good at what he does, but he just doesn't come across as a great guy on and off the court. It's like everybody's playing for him and not as a team. He doesn't care what altercations he gets into as long as he gets to play the game.
She's still shy. You want to say something to the mic? Say hi.
But that's the thing. He's not getting to play the game due to his behavior, so surely he should change himself, right? Well, Brooks showed no signs of changing, even though both sides of the sport have been telling him to do so. His team have constantly been trying to get into change and has had other people in the NBA, but I guess it just doesn't get through. Brooks has had many times in the last 9 months where he's at this take a step back and sit on the sidelines while he doesn't get any pay. He knows the consequences of his actions, but it makes people hate him even more because he isn't changing for the better. This guy's been given chances time and time again and knows the consequences of his actions. But I guess people hate him for a reason. He just doesn't want to change, does he? It's even gotten to the point where other stars have come out and said that they have had enough of Dillon Brooks.
Oh boy. Brooks for three.
Recently, Warriors stars Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry said that they had enough of Dillon Brooks.
And I thought that was premature talk, to even mention that word. They bring the best out of us, and I think we do the same.
They said they don't care about him, as when he retires, he doesn't think anyone is going to talk about him ever. We think that's a little bit harsh, as he has been really good in the NBA, but we get their frustration. He's the sort of player you just don't want to deal with on or off the court due to his behavior and his playing style.
Well, this is the group that we got, and we were a hard-working group, love the challenges.
What was that?
Make them keep talking about me so I can play better.
All right, guys. Oh my goodness.
Nobody wants to play against him, and it really rallies hatred towards him. Brooks is an annoying guy to deal with in terms of gameplay and in terms of his personality, so it's no surprise why people don't like him. So, from some behind-the-scenes fights to hate playing dirty on the court and causing an injury, those were the reasons why people hate Dillon Brooks.